First contact gone wrong. The quantum sensors aboard the ESV Curiosity picked up the distress signal at 3:47 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen was analyzing bacterial samples from the recently discovered exoplanet Kepler 742 bits when the ship's AI interrupted her work. Dr. Chen, Captain Morrison requests your immediate presence on the bridge. We've detected an unknown signal pattern consistent with artificial transmission. Sarah secured her samples and made her way through the research vessel's pristine corridors. The Curiosity represented humanity's most advanced deep space research platform, though you wouldn't know it from the utilitarian design. Every cubic meter was dedicated to scientific discovery. The bridge hummed with nervous energy when she arrived. Captain Morrison, a veteran of 3 deep space expeditions, stood before the main holographic display with an expression Sarah had never seen before. Uncertainty. Dr. Chen, good. We need your expertise. He gestured to the swirling pattern of energy signatures displayed in the ship's sensor feed. The signal appears to be using some form of quantum entanglement communication. But the pattern, it's biological in nature. Sarah studied the readouts. Her enhanced neural interface processing the data streams faster than any unaugmented human could manage. This isn't just a signal, Captain. It's cellular data, genetic code being transmitted. Someone or something is broadcasting DNA sequences into space. Before she could elaborate, the ship's tactical officer, Lieutenant Rodriguez, called out. Multiple vessels dropping out of FTL, bearing 047 Mark 223. Energy signatures massive. Nothing like we've ever encountered. A holographic display shifted, showing a terrifying sight. 3 massive vessels, each easily 20 times the size of the Curiosity, emerged from hyperspace. Their organic-looking design reminded Sarah of deep-sea creatures, all curves and strange protrusions that seemed to pulse with internal energy. More signals detected. The communications officer reported. They're targeting something in the Kepler 742 system. The display zoomed out, revealing a horrible truth. On the 4th planet of the system, a civilization they hadn't even detected yet was under attack. The massive ships were bombarding the surface with energy weapons that seemed to rewrite the very genetic structure of their targets. They're not just killing them, Sarah whispered, her augmented vision processing the data streams. They're forcibly evolving them, changing their entire species at the genetic level. This is genocide in its most sophisticated form. Captain Morrison's jaw tightened. We're a research vessel. We're not equipped for this kind of situation. No, Sarah agreed, but we're all that's here. And we have something they don't expect, human ingenuity. She interfaced directly with the ship's systems, her neural augments connecting with the Curiosity's quantum processors. The signal they're using to transmit the genetic modifications, it's using standard quantum entanglement principles. Complex, but not impossible to disrupt. What are you suggesting? Morrison asked, though his expression suggested he already knew. We can't fight them directly, Sarah explained, her fingers dancing over the holographic controls. But we can insert our own genetic codes into their transmission stream, create a feedback loop in their weapons. It won't stop them, but it might buy enough time for help to arrive. Morrison studied the tactical display for a long moment. Humanity had only recently ventured this far into space. They weren't ready for this kind of conflict. But the alternative, watching an entire civilization be genetically rewritten into slaves, was unthinkable. Do it, he ordered, and begin recording everything. Earth needs to know what we found out here. Sarah's fingers flew over the controls, her neural interface processing genetic codes faster than any computer. She found the pattern in the alien transmission and began her work, inserting subtle changes that would cascade through their entire system. The effect was immediate. The alien ship's weapons faltered, their genetic rewriting beams becoming erratic. Sarah watched through the ship's sensors as confusion spread through their ranks. They're turning toward us, Rodriguez reported, tension evident in his voice. Transmitting first contact protocols on all frequencies, the communications officer added. The response came in the form of a massive energy surge from the lead alien vessel. The Curiosity's shields, designed for protection against stellar radiation and micrometeoroids, wouldn't stand a chance against weapons of this magnitude. But Sarah wasn't done. As the alien energy beam approached, she completed her work. The genetic code she had inserted into their weapons system began to replicate, creating a cascade of errors in their targeting systems. The beam meant for the Curiosity went wide, missing them by kilometers. The alien ships seemed to struggle, their organic-looking hulls pulsing with discordant energy as their own weapon systems turned against them. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Rodriguez called out, "Something big is coming through." Sarah held her breath as new ships appeared. Earth vessels responding to the Curiosity's automated distress call. The EDF Thermopyla led a battle group of 5 ships, their angular hulls bristling with humanity's latest defensive technology. ESV Curiosity, this is Admiral Chen. A familiar voice came through the comm system. Sarah smiled. Her mother always did have perfect timing. Hold position. We'll take it from here. As the Earth Defense Force engaged the alien vessels, Sarah turned to Captain Morrison. They weren't expecting us to understand their technology so quickly. They certainly weren't expecting us to be able to manipulate it. Morrison nodded, watching as the human ships executed precision maneuvers that kept them out of the alien vessels' firing solutions. That's always been humanity's greatest strength. We adapt, we learn, and we don't stand by while others suffer. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first major engagement with the Kraxan Empire. But more importantly, it would be remembered as the day humanity showed the galaxy that intelligence and compassion could overcome even the most sophisticated weapons. Sarah watched as her mother's ships drove off the alien vessels, their superior tactics and technology overwhelming the Kraxan's brute force approach. The victory would come with a price. The galaxy now knew humanity existed, and they wouldn't always be happy about it. But as she looked at the planet they had just saved, watching as its native species began to recover from the attempted genetic rewriting, she knew they had made the right choice. Humanity had announced its presence in the galaxy, not through conquest or dominance, but by defending those who couldn't defend themselves. It was just the beginning. The Kraxan Empire wouldn't take this defeat lightly, and Earth would need to prepare for what was coming. But they had shown that humanity's greatest weapons weren't their ships or their technology. It was their ability to think creatively, act decisively, and stand up for what was right. The galaxy was about to learn what humanity was truly capable of. The call to arms. The United Earth Defense Council chamber hadn't been this full since the Martian independence crisis 30 years ago. Admiral Helena Chen stood before the assembled representatives, the holographic display behind her showing the full tactical data from the Kepler 742 incident. The room was silent as the final footage from the ESV Curiosity played out. 3 weeks ago, she began, her voice carrying the weight of command. Humanity faced its first encounter with a hostile alien civilization. The Kraxan Empire represents a threat unlike anything we have prepared for, but they also discovered something they didn't expect, that humanity won't stand idly by while they commit atrocities. The holographic display shifted, showing detailed scans of the Kraxan vessels. Thanks to Dr. Sarah Chen's quick thinking and our quantum analysis capabilities, we now understand their genetic modification weapon systems. More importantly, we've proven they can be countered. A murmur ran through the assembled representatives. Admiral Chen continued, her expression grave. But this was just the beginning. Our long-range quantum sensors have detected massive fleet movements in adjacent sectors. The Kraxan aren't retreating. They're gathering their forces. Council President Martinez leaned forward. "What are you proposing, Admiral?" Chen gestured, and the display changed to show designs for a new class of vessel. Project Aegis, a fleet of ships specifically designed to counter the Kraxan threat. But more than that, a statement to the galaxy that humanity is ready to stand as a defender of sentient rights. The designs rotated in the air, showing vessels unlike anything Earth had produced before. Sleek, angular ships with integrated quantum field generators and neural-linked targeting systems. But the real innovation lay in their defensive capabilities. The Kraxen's weapon systems rely on quantum-entangled genetic modification, Chen explained. Dr. Chen's research team has developed a counter-technology we're calling the quantum mirror shield. It doesn't just block their attacks, it reflects them back, using their own genetic manipulation against them. The council chamber erupted in discussion. This was more than a defensive program. It was a commitment to becoming a major power in the galaxy. The investment required would be staggering. President Martinez raised his hand for silence. Admiral, you're asking us to commit Earth's resources to not just defending ourselves, but potentially defending other species as well. The implications are exactly what we need to consider, Chen interrupted. The Kraxen Empire has been systematically subjugating species across this sector for centuries. They modify genetics, create slave races, erase cultures. We have the ability to stop them. I'm asking, do we have the will? The room fell silent again. Chen let the moment stretch before continuing. We've already begun receiving transmissions from other species in nearby systems. Word of what happened at Kepler 742 is spreading. Humanity stood up to the Kraxen Empire and won. We've become a symbol of hope. She gestured again, and the display showed a new image. Dozens of alien vessels, representatives of species who had suffered under Kraxen dominance. These arrived at our outer system defense perimeter 2 days ago. They're asking for our help. Not our technology, not our resources, our leadership. In the back of the chamber, Dr. Sarah Chen watched her mother work the room. The council members were beginning to nod, seeing the opportunity before them. Humanity had been looking for its place in the galaxy. Perhaps they had found it not through conquest or commerce, but through the simple act of doing what was right. The Aegis project is just the beginning. Admiral Chen continued. We're proposing the formation of a united defense fleet, a combined force of Earth ships and allied species. We'll share our quantum mirror shield technology with our allies, create a network of early warning systems, and establish rapid response protocols. The holographic display shifted again, showing a strategic map of known space. The Kraxen Empire has never faced organized resistance on this scale. They've conquered through superior technology and the element of surprise. But humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to innovate, to adapt, and to work together. President Martinez studied the display for a long moment. And you believe we can win? I believe we must try, Chen replied. The Kraxen Empire is gathering its forces for a major offensive. They'll target Earth, try to eliminate us before we can organize an effective resistance, but they don't understand what they're facing. She gestured to the designs for the Aegis fleet. These ships represent the best of human innovation. Quantum computing cores linked to human neural networks, allowing for reaction times faster than any purely artificial system. Adaptive shield harmonics that learn from each attack, and weapons designed not to destroy, but to protect. The chamber was silent as the council members considered the implications. This wasn't just a military proposal, it was a fundamental shift in humanity's role in the galaxy. They had the chance to become something more than just another spacefaring species. The vote will be held tomorrow, President Martinez announced. But I think I speak for many here when I say that humanity cannot ignore this call. We have always dreamed of reaching the stars. Now we know why we were meant to be here. As the council chamber emptied, Sarah approached her mother. Do you think they'll approve it? Admiral Chen smiled. They will, because deep down, every human knows that standing up for what's right isn't just an option. It's a responsibility. The Kraxen Empire is about to learn that they didn't just attack a single research vessel. They awakened humanity's greatest strength, our unwavering determination to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Aegis project would be approved unanimously the next day. Within weeks, the first keels would be laid in Earth's orbital shipyards. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was about to show everyone exactly what they were capable of when they had a cause worth fighting for. Operation Silent Shield. The bridge of the UES Hyperion hummed with quiet intensity as Admiral Helena Chen studied the tactical display. The massive Kraxan armada hung in space before them. Over 300 vessels, their biological-mechanical hybrid ships forming patterns that resembled a predator's hunting formation. They had no idea they were being watched. Quantum cloak holding steady, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez reported from his tactical station. The technology had been adapted from Sarah's original genetic disruption technique, bending quantum fields around the human fleet to make them virtually undetectable. All Allied ships report ready. The combined fleet represented the largest military force ever assembled under human leadership. 70 Earth vessels formed the core, their quantum mirror shields gleaming with barely contained energy. They were accompanied by ships from 24 alien species, each bringing their own unique capabilities to the fight. Signal from Dr. Chen's team. Communications announced. They've completed the analysis of the Kraxan's neural network. Transmitting targeting data now. Helena allowed herself a small smile. Her daughter had discovered that the Kraxan's biological ships shared a quantum-entangled nervous system, a strength that could be turned into a devastating weakness. The entire enemy fleet was essentially one massive organism, and they were about to give it a severe case of indigestion. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. She broadcast across the secure quantum network. Operation Silent Shield is now in effect. Remember your training. We're not here for destruction. We're here to protect. Execute on my mark. The plan was audacious, exactly the kind of thinking the Kraxan would never expect. Instead of a direct confrontation, they would use the enemy's own biological technology against them. Sarah's team had developed a quantum virus that would spread through their neural network, temporarily paralyzing their ships without causing permanent damage. Mark. The human fleet decloaked simultaneously, appearing like ghosts in the void. Before the Kraxan could react, precisely targeted quantum pulses struck key ships in their formation. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The virus spread through their neural network like wildfire, causing ships to lose power and drift out of formation. Multiple Kraxan vessels attempting emergency protocols, Tactical reported. Their genetic resequencing weapons are offline. Quantum mirror shields are holding against conventional attacks. The Kraxan fleet's response was chaos. Their rigid command structure, dependent on the neural network, began to break down. Individual ships tried to fight back, but the human-led fleet was already executing the second phase of the operation. Small, fast ships from the Deltan Alliance darted between the larger Kraxan vessels, their energy web projectors capturing and containing the drifting ships. The crystalline vessels of the Arcturian Collective positioned themselves at strategic points, their natural ability to manipulate quantum fields helping to maintain the disruption effect. Kraxan flagship is attempting to coordinate a counterattack, Rodriguez announced. They're adapting faster than expected. As predicted, Helena replied calmly. Execute Phase 3. This was the most crucial part of the plan. While the main fleet kept the Kraxan forces occupied, a specially modified Earth vessel slipped through their lines. The UES Prometheus, under the direct command of Dr. Sarah Chen, carried a payload that would change the course of the war. Prometheus reporting in position. Sarah's voice came through clear on the command channel. Beginning transmission. The payload wasn't a weapon, it was information. Using the Kraxan's own neural network, they broadcast evidence of the Empire's atrocities across every quantum frequency. Images and data from countless subjugated worlds, proof of genetic manipulation and forced evolution, all transmitted directly into the biological computers of every Kraxan ship. Quantum spikes detected throughout the Kraxan fleet, Science reported. Their crews are receiving the transmission. We're seeing widespread disruption in their command protocols. Helena watched as the massive enemy fleet began to fragment. The Kraxan Empire had maintained control through ignorance, keeping their own people unaware of the full scope of their leaders' actions. That control was now shattering in real time. Multiple Kraxan vessels are powering down, Tactical announced, surprise evident in their voice. We're receiving surrender signals. No, wait. They're requesting asylum. This was the true victory Helena had hoped for, not through superior firepower or devastating attacks, but by revealing the truth and allowing the Kraxan people themselves to choose a different path. All ships maintain containment positions, she ordered. Begin rescue and recovery operations for any vessel requesting assistance. Priority is safety and stability. The operation had succeeded beyond their highest expectations. In less than an hour, humanity had effectively neutralized the largest Kraxan battle fleet without causing a single death. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth's strength lay not in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to find solutions that preserved life. Incoming transmission from the Kraxan flagship, communications reported. They're requesting to speak with the one who created the quantum virus. They want to talk to Dr. Chen. Helena nodded. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or destroyers, but as innovators and protectors. They had faced one of the most powerful empires in known space and defeated them not through superior firepower, but through intelligence, creativity, and an unwavering commitment to preserving life. The human fleet moved with practiced precision, their quantum mirror shields synchronizing to create a massive defensive barrier. But this wasn't just a shield. It was a demonstration of everything humanity had learned about quantum mechanics and genetic manipulation. As the Kraxan ships opened fire, their genetic modification beams struck the resonance field. Instead of being blocked or reflected, the energy was absorbed, transformed, and redirected. The result was spectacular. Each Kraxan vessel was enveloped in a field of their own energy, modified to show their crews the truth of what their weapons did to others. They're standing down, Tactical reported, amazement clear in their voice. All Kraxan vessels are powering down weapons. We're receiving surrender broadcasts. Sarah watched as the former enemy ships were escorted into holding positions by the Coalition fleet. Another victory achieved not through destruction, but through understanding and innovation. Message from Admiral Chen, communications announced. She says, "Well done, Doctor. Now let's help them find their way home too." The liberation of Nixii became a model for future operations. World by world, system by system, the Coalition helped former Kraxan subjects reclaim their identity while forging new paths forward. Humanity had shown the galaxy that true strength lay not in the ability to force change, but in the wisdom to help others change themselves. As Sarah watched another group of beings choose their future, she realized that this was humanity's greatest achievement. They hadn't just defeated an empire. They had helped create a galaxy where every being could write their own destiny. A new dawn. 5 years after the first encounter with the Kraxan Empire, the grand chamber of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with anticipation. Representatives from over 100 species gathered in the massive space station that orbited Earth, their differences in appearance a testament to the diversity they now celebrated rather than feared. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium, the quantum interface connecting her neural augments to the station's systems. Behind her, a massive holographic display showed the transformation of the known galaxy over the past 5 years, from a realm dominated by fear and forced evolution to one of cooperation and chosen change. When humanity first ventured into deep space, she began, "We didn't know what role we would play in the greater galaxy. We were explorers, scientists, dreamers. We never imagined we would become guardians of freedom and self-determination." The display shifted, showing the latest data from the former Kraxan territories. Worlds once uniformly transformed by genetic manipulation now bloomed with diversity. Species that had been forced into identical forms had reclaimed their heritage while embracing positive changes of their own choosing. The last holdouts of the Kraxan Empire surrendered 3 days ago. Sarah continued. Not to our weapons, but to the truth. They saw what their own people had achieved after choosing cooperation over domination. They witnessed the strength that comes from embracing diversity rather than enforcing uniformity. Admiral Helena Chen watched from her position among the Earth delegation, pride evident in her expression. The United Human Defense Fleet had evolved into something far greater than a military force. They had become teachers, healers, and mediators. But our greatest achievement, Sarah said, gesturing to the assembled representatives, isn't in what we stopped. It's in what we helped create. The Galactic Concordat represents something unprecedented, a union of species based not on power or fear, but on mutual respect and shared progress. The holographic display showed their greatest technological achievement, the Quantum Harmony Network. Built on the principles they had learned from studying Kraxan technology, it allowed instant communication and coordination across vast distances. But unlike the Kraxan's forced neural links, this network respected individual privacy and choice. Humanity's strength was never in our weapons or our technology. Sarah continued. It was in our ability to see possibilities where others saw only problems, to find ways to help rather than harm, to stand up for what's right, even when we stood alone. A new image appeared, the first graduates of the Earth Science Academy. Young beings from dozens of species, learning together, combining their unique perspectives to push the boundaries of knowledge. Among them were former Kraxan citizens, their natural talent for biological science now directed toward healing rather than subjugation. The galaxy once feared the power to change, Sarah said, her voice carrying emotion. The Kraxan Empire turned that power into a weapon. But together, we've shown that change can be a choice, that evolution can be guided by wisdom rather than force, that the greatest victories come not from defeating enemies, but from turning them into friends. The chamber erupted in approval, hundreds of different species expressing joy in their own unique ways. The Arcturians' crystalline forms resonated with harmonic tones. The atmospheric Zephyrians created patterns of colored gas. The reformed Kraxan delegates bioluminescent patches pulsed with bright patterns. As we formally establish the Galactic Concordat today, Sarah concluded, we commit ourselves not to a single path of development, but to protecting the right of all beings to choose their own path. Earth will continue to serve not as conquerors or rulers, but as guardians of this fundamental right. The ratification ceremony that followed was broadcast across the galaxy. Species that had once been enemies now signed the Concordat together, pledging to uphold its principles of self-determination and mutual support. The Kraxan representatives, their forms now expressing their individual choices rather than imperial uniformity, were among the most enthusiastic signatories. Later, in a quiet moment aboard the Hyperion, Sarah joined her mother in watching Earth rotate below them. The planet seemed somehow both smaller and more significant than ever before. Did you ever imagine this? Sarah asked, gesturing to the fleet of diverse ships that surrounded their world. When we first encountered the Kraxan, did you think we'd end up here? Helena smiled. I hoped. That's another human trait that served us well. Hope. Not blind optimism, but the belief that if we work hard enough, if we're clever enough and brave enough, we can find a better way. A notification chimed softly. Another world requesting membership in the Concordat. Another opportunity to help guide positive change in the galaxy. Another chance to show what humanity did best. Face challenges with innovation, courage, and compassion. They call us the Guardians now, Sarah mused, watching the quantum network light up with activity. Not because of our strength in battle, but because we guard their right to choose their own future. And that, Helena replied, is the greatest victory we could have achieved. We didn't just change the galaxy, we helped the galaxy learn how to change itself. As they watched the endless stream of ships arriving for the Concordat ceremonies, both women knew that this wasn't an ending, but a beginning. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos not through conquest or dominance, but by standing up for what was right and showing others how to do the same. The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of promise rather than threat. Humanity had ventured into space, wondering if they were ready for what they would find. Instead, they had discovered that the galaxy was ready for what humanity would bring. Innovation, determination, and an unwavering commitment to protecting the rights of all sentient beings to choose their own destiny. It was truly a new dawn for all species, and humanity would be there to help light the way forward.